All right, everybody. In transit today, often on this portion of the program, we talk about what's happening on the roads. Today, we focus on what's happening below those roads. That water main that broke last Friday near the Jacques Cartier Bridge, that water, by the way, ended up approaching our doorstep. Our colleagues across the street at CTV, they've been forced out of their building. Well, we were finding out some more details. Turns out that Montreal officials knew that it was vulnerable. In an inspection in 2018, city officials say they were made aware that the gigantic water main, 84 inches in diameter, was quote-unquote vulnerable. They were told they'd have to wait for the next phase of an inspection, which was planned for later this fall, and that the pipe burst prematurely. Let's find out more from Maja Vodanovic. She is, of course, the mayor of the borough of Lachine and on the executive committee for the city of Montreal in charge of waterworks. Maja, welcome back.
Good morning, Elias.
It's always great to talk to you here.
Nice to talk to you.
So tell me about your Friday morning. And at what point, the phone goes off? What happens? Tell me about that. I'd love to know what happened, how it went down.
Well, thank you for asking, because I thought it was pretty intense and rather amazing to see the people in action, to see our firemen, to see the people from Hydro-Quebec, the people from the city, from the waterworks. There were people from the Port of Montreal. Everybody was there, and it was so coordinated, that they had the emergency tent, and they all were bringing reports to the firemen that were leading the situation. And I was wondering, I thought, how come this is so wow, how come you guys are doing all this? And, why is it so dangerous? And they said, well, it's different from a flood. When we know floods are coming, it comes from the sewers and the roads, and it's slow. It's not intense. I mean, it could be fast, but it's not a big pressure. But when a water main of that size breaks, it is huge amount of pressure that breaks things. Mm-hmm. So they were inspecting, to see if there were damages in the buildings that were around, if there was any structural damages, if they had to evacuate people. They had to close off the electricity to make sure that they, to inspect everything. So I thought that was pretty, and they were organized. I was very impressed with I felt good to be, a Montreal citizen that have all those people that were protecting us.
So
really.
What can you tell us, and I referenced it off the top, about what we knew when about this water main and that it was vulnerable, right?
Okay,
was there a heads up here that something should have been done earlier?
Yes, well, I found out, this is very interesting. We know that our main water mains, the ones that are C301, it's like a special type of material. Mm-hmm. We have 150 kilometers of this kind of pipe. And the 110 kilometers are more vulnerable than the rest. It's one of those pipes is the one that recently exploded in Calgary. Okay. And so these pipes are under special surveillance. And so we inspected it in 2007. It had 15 steel cylinders that broke out of 510. We go by segments.
Gotcha. So
in 2015, we had 35 of them that broke on this segment. And now we thought, it wasn't the norm. They're supposed to break one or two a year. That's normal. But still, the city of Montreal said, we don't like it because only two segments had a break of 35. And they said, we're going to do more inspection. So they ordered another one and we have a vulnerability curve. And on that vulnerability curve, they said, well, according to the pressure of the pipe, according to this and that and whatever, all those, the technical terms, they said the pipe can last for a good 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. But we said, okay, but we're going to do an inspection anyways. And of all things, the inspection was to happen in the coming weeks.
Okay.
The pipe was actually to be closed next week completely.
Are you kidding? It was going to be closed next week? That was the schedule.
That was the schedule. We were going to close it off, the whole section, and do an inspection. Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is, and I find that the city of Montreal, this is pretty, they were, in French, it's prévoyant. They really they said, okay, we can last 15 years, but, you know, we don't like the fact that there's 35 rings broken. We're going to go back and check it before, you know, the term.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, no, we have
we're
giving out a contract. We're giving out a contract actually in the coming, at the next council meeting for this. Yeah.
I know this. So this water main was installed in 1985. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's only about 40 years old, less than 40 years old.
Yep.
Exactly. Is it possible, like that it was, from the supplier, a bit of a defective water main?
We don't know exactly what caused the break. It's going to go under autopsy, full autopsy procedures, and we'll know more. But we know that the C301 that are not covered with epoxy are more vulnerable. So we do a special inspection on that. Like the city knows, but it's unusual what happened. It's not,
Well, let me tell you, we certainly felt it in this neck of the woods, and of course our colleagues have been forced out of their offices and studios and are now in Nuns Island. Okay. When you look now at what happened with this water main break, right? And I think in the last month and a half, we've had so many water events, right? Heavy rain and that kind of stuff. Like, should we try and be separating all of these things? Does the situation seem worse than it is just because of timing?
No, it's two different things completely.
Yeah.
Because water mains are aqueducts, and it's completely separate from our sewer system.
That's right.
So it's unrelated. It happened at the same time, but they're unrelated.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you stepped up maybe inspections on the rest of the network because of this?
Well, yes. Well, actually, we have stepped it up, and this is the contract that we're going to be voting in the coming weeks. It's to see, it's kind of with an electric sonar radar. I don't know, maybe I'm not using the right word, but it's something that they're using in Calgary to inspect the pipes.
Okay.
So we're going to add that as an inspection to all of them, to the C301. And also we'll see once we have the report, we're going to maybe do something else depending on what the results say. But I wanted to add something that is really, really worth saying. Because in the last 10 years, the City of Montreal made sure that we had redundancy. And that means that if one water main breaks, like this is the main water for all of the eastern end under Sherbrooke, okay, all the way to the end of the island, all the hospital, everything that's there. It's that main valve that brings the water to them. Well, we have built another pipe that goes through the north that feeds all the East End. So all of Montreal in the last 10 years has been secured with two main pipes. So that never will we miss water. So
it is interesting to point out. Nobody lost water. There was lower water pressure and some temporary boil water advisory, but nobody lost water. Because
in Calgary, they lost water. There's people without water. They have to, save water right now. And who knows how long, it's going to take to repair. Like our pipe, we don't know. So it could have been months. We could have been months without water.
Jeez.
But now it can be shut off and there's no effect on the population. So, it's something that goes completely unseen, underground. We built a completely new reservoir that existed but was completely out of function and old. It was rebuilt, the Rosemont Reservoir, and that is what is protecting us today.
With Maja Vodanovic, who's the mayor of the borough of Lachine, also in charge of waterworks on the Montreal Executive Committee. Madame la Mairesse, as I can call you as well. Maja, just want to wrap up here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Our listeners have heard you on our program so many times. You are so bilingual. I see you in French on TV. I see you come on here, you never shy away from an interview. I just want to ask you this, just because I know our listeners care about this. On Monday, City Council, there was a point of contention between the mayor of Pierrefonds-Roxborough and the mayor of Montreal Valerie Plante over language being spoken, because Jim Bass asked a question in English. I just want to know, what is your take on language used at City Council? And is it okay for you or any of your colleagues to be asking questions, doing some official business in English?
Yeah. I always, if somebody asks me a question in English at town hall, I answer in English. If it's a written question in English, I will answer it in English. So for me, it's not an issue, but I know that, it is true that for Ensemble Montréal, they speak more in English at town hall, and it's a fact. They speak more English. So that's.
Is there a problem in and of itself with that?
I don't know. It's just a fact that's there, that they speak more English, and on the other side, they speak more French. And I don't want to get into debate of who's right and who's wrong. I want to celebrate the fact that we are a bilingual city, and I want to celebrate the fact that, French has to be protected, but we have to protect the English-speaking people within Montreal, because it's a minority within Quebec. So I understand the protection of French and the protection of English. So I don't want war. I just want people to be happy together.
No war, just want peace. Maja,
yes.
Peace to you. I'm doing a peace sign, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mayor of the Borough of Lachine, that's Maja Vodanovic.